First time that I held my daughter, Caitlin, my oldest of 3, and we have a 4th one on the way. First time that I held her, I looked at her little face, and I just remember thinking that, wow, I'm responsible for this child in every way. I'm responsible for her physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Nobody needed to tell me that. It wasn't because I was a pastor that I had been trained to know that. It wasn't because I grew up in the church, and those of us that are parents, we all know that's a feeling that all of us have, and a lot of times we lie awake maybe worried about our kids. If your kids are a little older and you're worried because of your ability to monitor their lifestyle, you're able to see where they're being honest and where they're not. And 50 years ago, society used to compliment or at least reinforce what the church and what parents wanted their kids to know. And that has slid some. And to be honest with you, it's quite the opposite of what we want them to know. And this is a point in history where the parents and the church have to partner together more than ever, because 2 combined influences have a greater impact than just 2 influences by themselves. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. In this glass dish here, I have 50 gumballs. And I just wanted to illustrate to you the number of hours that we have potentially with your kids. If you bring your kids to kids' church for an hour a week, throughout the year we have 50 hours if you allow 2 weeks for vacation and getting sick and things like that. But do you know how many hours a parent has? Let me show you how many hours a parent has. A parent has around 3,000 hours with their child, and we're not naive enough to believe that all 3,000 hours can be spent teaching your kids about the things of faith. But I can say that if we could just tap into a small portion of this, man, what a difference that would make in keeping our kids from falling away from their faith. We believe that we're doing our best. 4 years ago, we began down a path of trying to partner with parents as much as we could, but we were somewhat limited by our facility. We began to use our God time, and we began to, and those are inside the bulletins now for you. We have virtue packs available that many parents know about, and we work hard to try to communicate that all the time. And we have all these other tools, and even recently our Real Kids e-News has come out, just trying to increase that partnership with parent, because we understand that those 2 combined influences make a much greater impact than just the one, or than 2 influences working independently. If we continue down the path that we're on, I believe that we can do a good job, but we really think we've found something better. And here's what I mean by that. We think that in our new space, we finally have the ability to create an environment where parents and kids can sit side by side. And in this environment, the parents and kids will be able to laugh together, they'll be able to worship together, and they'll be able to go home and have conversations together about what they saw in church. There'll be something to talk about all the way home from church. Now, that service would happen at 9:45, and we're going to call it our Real Kids FX service, and FX standing for Family Experience. The reason that we want to have that service is because there is something that happens when you sit in the room with your kid that you cannot duplicate with any amount of communication. Just having that shared experience that allows you to draw from it throughout the week at times that are unplanned. I can tell you from personal experience, as my daughter Caitlin is now in Kids Church, I can tell you the difference it has made in my relationship with her and my ability to lead her in the things of God, just because we are in that room together, and she knows that I saw what she saw, and she can ask me questions. We want that for every parent. We wanted it 4 years ago, but we were limited by our facility. We are no longer limited by our facility. We also believe that in our church core value is life change happens best in small groups. And currently many families only come to one of the service times, and they miss out on something great that happens in our Sunday school time, which is the relationships with kids and leaders, and just building those friendships. And so what we would like to do is we want to throw everything into the mix. We're going to throw Kids Church, Sunday school, an increased desire and ability to partner with parents, and this idea of life change happens best in small groups. And out of it, we came up with the two environments, Real Kids Connect and the Real Kids Family Experience. At 9:45, we'll have the Real Kids Family Experience, and I really want to invite you to join us at that time. You're going to love what you see. At 8:30 and 10:45, I would like to ask that you maybe choose one of those services for your kids to come to regularly, because the more consistent they are in attending that service, the more consistent opportunity they'll have in a small group and building relationships and friendships. And you'll have another voice in the life of your child saying what you would want them to say in a life group leader. Now, during that time, we're still going to have some of the elements from Kids Church service now, some of the really fun, exciting, large group teaching time, but then we'll break into a small group time. So all of that will happen just during the Real Kids Connect. During the family experience is when we're going to have the sketches with the Real Kids cast. If you've ever sat in and seen Tyler and Gordo and Cammie and Agnes and them, it's just really, really fun. And our hope is that you'll walk in expecting like you would at a Disney movie, that you're going to experience something together and you're going to go home and laugh and talk about it. Now, if you give this a try, and I really hope that you do, and you come and join us for the Real Kids Family Experience, I think what could happen is greater than what you might think will happen. I think your kids are going to have opportunities to ask you questions that you don't expect. And I think you're going to see opportunities throughout the week where right now you may feel like you don't have intentional time of discipleship with your kids, but all of a sudden it shows up because you saw something together. And I believe that what will also happen is you're going to begin to see that your ability to lean into the life of your child about making wise choices, growing in their wisdom, about growing in their faith, and about growing in their friendship. All three of those your ability to do that is going to come up. And then I also believe that if we continue down this, if we can implement what we're talking about, and if you give this a try, I think you're going to be surprised at how much easier it is for you to have that relationship with your kids when talking about things of God later in their teen years, when many parents start to worry and struggle with exactly what their kids are doing and what they're going through. You want to set that relationship of talking about that up ahead of time, and you want to set it up now so that it's something that you can rely on, and it is a habit of something that you can lean on when it comes down the road. So here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to try it. It may be outside of the time frame that you currently come to church. You may not come at 9:45 for our Sunday school hour, but we just believe that we have this moment, and when your kid turns 18, you're not going to look back and say, man, I wish we'd have gone a lot less. Or you're not going to look back and say, I wish we would have done this or that. You're always going to look back and wish you'd been more intentional about the things of faith, because 100 years from now, only one thing's going to matter. It's your child's relationship with God. It's your relationship with God. A person's relationship with God is all that matters 100 years from now. I think the investment's worth it, and I think you're going to see that. I hope to see you there in the middle of February or at the beginning of March when we open up the brand new Kids Church, when we launch Real Kids FX and the Real Kids Connect. Thanks for checking us out.